Oh, we jumped into this one so quick today that I didn't even get a chance to start filming. And so we did some checks previous to this and then ordered a whole bunch of parts. Basically, we got new control arm coming, new calipers as of today, rotor, pads, this steering assembly, which goes through to the other side. We have the CV axles out, removed right now, so the two CV axles are going to be replaced. Seals around the transaxle, or the housing there. And on this side, same thing. Kind of started because there was just so much play in the steering, and the wheels would flop back and forth. So you can see where the new seal will go on there. And inside the transaxle, that's looking decent enough. And again, control arms. I'm trying to think what else we have. Oh, new hubs for the wheel bearing. And struts. I got new struts. We're going to actually change the coil springs over on them, but so hopefully I'll film some of that when we get into it. We're waiting on parts. Just the CV axle showed up today, but a whole bunch of stuff's going to show up over the next week or so. And get this puppy all taken care of. Hopefully the engine, transaxle, and the clutch are still good. Anyway, we'll see. I have so much more money into it than it's worth, but the way I look at it is, compared to a brand new car, this is only a couple months payment that I'm putting into parts. And if we can run it for another year or so, we definitely profit from it. So that's the deal. Okay, a little more update here on the complete front end change out on this 2001 PT Cruiser automatic. So we've got most of this stuff pulled out, and this steering assembly is being changed out because, as you can see, it's shot. I just pulled the link pieces off of the sway bar, and look at the sway bar. The bushings inside there are shot too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be basically pulling the bolts for the sway bar, get that down out of the way. I'm going to be pulling this bottom engine mount here so I can get to the bolt behind here, and then I'm going to take off that bolt and this bolt, and then take out these control arms, and then those will be out of the way. I'd like to just drop the caliper because I got new ones coming, but I don't want the fluid going everywhere, so we'll keep that kind of in the way here. But once I do that, then I can take this entire subframe here, take this off, and I'll be able to drop this subframe down and get to the steering rack and pinion setup there, which requires taking out, I think there's one bolt up in there, and then somewhere, I gotta double check here, somewhere is the lines to disconnect. It's hard to tell from here, but looking at the new one, I can see there that oil cooler. Get all this oil coolers, I think, is riveted to the subframe. I don't know how that's going to work out, but hopefully if I can drop the whole subframe out, this bolt here, subframe, tube there, this one in the front. If I drop that whole thing out, then I can kind of clean it up and maybe paint it, do some stuff to it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it soon. I got to go get the link assembly from the auto parts and cotter pins and lots of brake clean so I can clean this all up. And then once all that stuff is down and out of the way, that's when I'll probably attack the oil pan and pull that and get the gasket changed out. So that's kind of where I'm at, beginning of this part. Another little update on this 2001 PT Cruiser that I'm changing out almost everything on the front end of. This is one of the main bolts here, which took a lot of extra leverage to get it loose. You can see where it's starting to kind of come down a little bit because I'm working on this bolt up here that's holding it. So on this side, there's this, and then, well, the bolt for the control arm was through here, but it doesn't hold anything. This guy does a little bit. At any rate, as it's coming down like that and separating, what you got to do is, apparently subframes are pretty much designed and aligned in the factory for each car. So when you go to take them apart, what you need to do is get yourself a little paint pen or something and draw where these fit, because when you go to put this back, you want to make sure it's right up against that spot. If not, then I guess it'll affect overall the whole alignment. So that's one of the things to watch. And being that this has got the weight of the steering rack and pinion on it right now, it's got the weight of the frame and that, and unfortunately that oil cooler for the steering is pop riveted onto there. If it wasn't boltable, I could take it off and not have it on here. But at any rate, so I'm gonna have to get a jack under here and kind of jack this up to hold the weight pretty soon. But I'm just trying to work all these things loose. Take a lot of WD-40 and stuff to help break them loose. So I've loosened the other side more or less, and I'm going to loosen this side some. Try to maybe get this out, but I'm going to get a jack under there first. And then I'm hoping to be able to just drop this frame down, pull the lines off the hydraulic power steering there, and then I can turn around, and actually both lines for the power steering go up to another junction point where they screw in. We don't take them off of this part. But at any rate, get that all disconnected, be able to drop this down, pull the steering rack and pinion off of the subframe for getting ready to put the new one on. Take this subframe down out of the way, clean it up, paint it, do whatever I want to do with it, and then put it back up there. But in the meantime, with this entire steering and subframe gone, that's when I'm going to attack all this other area here, which I have oil leaks from. I'm pretty sure this is all from the frame because I've changed the valve cover gaskets. So it's just a matter of getting in there, cleaning it all up, and then swapping out that oil pan gasket, which is coming. I haven't gotten it yet. And that's where I'm at right now. One of the things I had trouble trying to find was the sway bar link. Sway bar fits down in here, attaches to the control arm. Those links were pretty eaten up, but they're a specific size for this one. And when I go down to the auto parts store, they kept giving me one that was longer and thicker. So I ended up having to research it out, and the auto parts guys got two coming in on Tuesday that I'll be able to hopefully be the right ones. And I got my transit axle area all closed up with some cloth for now. I don't want stuff getting up inside there, but it should be pretty interesting once I get all this down and out of here, and can really get a good idea. I got all brand new tie rods for the new unit. I'll have to measure and make sure I got the right setup when I put it together, so it's all pretty close. And that's where I'm at now. Okay, let's see if I can get this on camera. I'm not sure if I can. Basically, I got all the bolts pulled out from the subframe. So with the jack, I should be able to just kind of slowly bring it down, at least far enough to where I can get into the lines for the steering. Let's see if I can do that now. There you go. Come on down. On here, it's coming down kind of crooked. I think the steering frame is hanging up here. Let me switch this off and we'll go check a look. Okay, so I think what's happening is this. No, that shouldn't be holding it up. What is holding it up? Oh, I know what's going on. I got to take that bolt out of the steering rack and pinion from the steering wheel shaft. Okay, I'm gonna have to go, I think, inside of the car and do that. So let me go look at that. My dilemma. I've got that section up there. If I can get this on camera. Section up here that I have to either knock this pin out to remove this rack and pinion from the steering column, or inside of the on the steering column inside of the dash is this pin, kind of hard to get to, bolt that goes through. There's a little C-clip on the end of that. Let me get it into focus. A little C-clip on the end I took off. And I read where that bolt or that nut is welded or attached to this frame thing. But and when I tried with a wrench, I nearly rounded it off. It does not want to seem like it's going to go anywhere, so maybe it is attached. But if that's the case, then how do you turn this side? That side has there's no hex head, no Torx, no Allen, nothing to really turn it with. So I'm kind of at a loss how you would open that up and then drop the entire shaft down. So it would be nice to do it at the bottom, except I just have so little room. I'm afraid that the pin, even if I get it out, I might have a heck of a time trying to get it in once I put the new one. Oh boy, dilemmas. Yeah, I don't know, it's awfully tight there. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it can be done, but I guess I'll have to try that. It's such a struggle getting in there. Okay, another update. Got the subframe and the steering gear down out of here. Once I got the steering column loose, I was able to drop it down far enough to get that hydraulic line off. What I ended up doing was in on the very top over here, driving this pin out, because that was about the only thing I could really get to. So the whole shaft went down, but dragged it all over here. But now the let's see. Oh yeah, now there I'm gonna have to take this all loose to transfer over to the new steering gear, and then this is where I ended up taking it loose at the top, dropping it down, which, okay, I thought it was going to hang up and not come all the way out, but it did. So doing pretty good there. So this thing is really greasy and dirty. I'm going to do the pressure wash thing, clean it up. I'll clean this up just so I don't have to handle the grease, but then I'll get all the new stuff mounted, but I'm going to paint it up real good first. So that's where I'm at right now. Underneath there, I dropped the steering gear right into the pan of power steering fluid that I had collected. Knocked that all over underneath there. So besides the regular oil and everything else I got hydraulic fluid under there. So that's going to take some degreasing and cleaning, but that'll be a little bit later in the day for now. Right now, I'm just going to power wash this. Get a move on. Okay, I got my PT Cruiser's strut and coil assembly set up here, which is considered a McPherson strut. I got my loaner spring compressor attached and in. Now it's just a matter of driving these down and compressing these springs enough to remove this. And then gotta take it off from here with the nut, but the tough part is you gotta take that nut off, and you may have to hold this if it doesn't want to come loose, which could be the pits, because how am I supposed to hold this and be able to get in there? I gotta get in there probably with a socket. I don't know. I'm gonna try to figure this one out. But that's what the old one looks like, and we're gonna put the new one in. No. I had to double check this here. How am I supposed to get that apart? This is too short. Why? How am I supposed to compress that out under pressure? Something is weird. I don't know. I may have to just get the preloaded ones and forget about this idea. Does not look right. It's radically compressed compared to the one I'm putting on there. Okay, well, gonna have to figure this one out. Okay, I guess I should have read into instructions, but it comes locked down, so I have to do something here to extend, remove an external tie down, or rotate upper end of rod counterclockwise. Okay. All right, well, let me give that a try and see how it works out. Okay, I did it. So I basically got to grab this little center section there, twist it just a little bit counterclockwise, and then the thing extends out. Now we're cooking with gas. Okay, I'm pretty good on there. I think I can continue on. Okay, still struggling with this strut compressor. I probably shouldn't stand here in case it shoots out for some reason. This guy's doing okay. Compressing the spring and everything, I was able to get this kind of loose. Right now I slacked this off a little bit, but biggest problem is they got this 10 millimeter in the center, which is part of the shaft going up. And then the nut, which is a, what was it? I'm pretty sure I said 21. Yeah, 21 millimeter there. So you need like a special setup where the socket goes down over the 21 with a smaller 10 millimeter that can go inside, and then the one from here will go up through the outer socket, and then you can hold one and twist the other. I tried to get hold of the shaft there with pliers and stuff, but there's no way I can hold that thing. It's got to be held right from here. So I heard and watched a video on Harbor Freight. Has a set of tools, Pittsburgh tools, that have that, where you can put it through with a nut, with another smaller nut goes through it. And I'm going to go look at them, but I don't know. I'm kind of afraid they may not have the size I need, because I think they said something about being up to 19 inch, whereas I need 21. So I'll stop at Harbor Freight after a little while and see what I can find. Okay, here we go again. This is what I came up with. Okay, I've got the spring compressor. Problem we're having is that I got a 21 inch nut down there with a 10 millimeter stud holding that center shaft in place, but you can't take the nut off because it spins the whole thing. So you have to hold that 10 millimeter. Well, how do you do that? I got another kit at Harbor Freight, or I went down to get one, and it only had a 19 millimeter for the outside nut, not a 21. So what I did is I got a spark plug wrench, which is about the same, but it also has a hex head. So I can grab it with a wrench. I can put a quarter inch drive down there with a 10 millimeter socket. So I put the 10 millimeter socket on there. I run the spark plug wrench, and I put on a 13/16 wrench. So I hold it in place here and I loosen it with this. But right now I got to put the spring back out of, I got to compress the spring back down again before I do this. So I'm going to get ready to do that. And then hopefully this whole setup here will work.